Today we're going to be doing an all-time African combined 11 of players who played for African countries and those who picked other nations. I'm sure you guys have seen all the discourse during international break about whether England have too many foreign players, whether France have too many African players, etc, etc. Many people like Jose Mourinho are saying that they wish the African players would play for their nation so that African football can develop further. And in a live stream I did on TikTok the other day, I was inviting guys to give their hot takes. Someone came on and said that Africa has the best talent in terms of like wingers and forwards and whatnot, but they just don't end up playing for their country. That was his hot take. And I thought, you know what? It might be a good video. So here we're going to make our best 11. Again, all time. I'm going to give you one player for every position, but also a secondary position, like a sub, if you will, for each spot. Because I can't lie, in the midfield and the attack, Africa is completely stacked. But we start in goal because, like, I'll be real, the defense ain't as cold as the midfield and the forwards. But let's go through it anyway, because in goal we got a few honorable mentions, if you will. Guys like Thomas Nkono, who, for those of us who remember, Buffon was there saying that he was his idol. Thomas Nkono is the one that made Buffon want to be a goalkeeper. So that's already, you know, very high praise. You got the likes of, you know, Vincent Amenyah of Nigeria. Amenyah as well was balling out. But my two players that I've gone with, I've gone starting, I've gone with Bono. And on the bench, I've gone El Hadari of Egypt, who won 4 AFCONs. But I feel as though Bono, if I'm building like an all-time 11, I know maybe you could argue it's like kind of early for him, but purely on ability, what this guy does, and I think worldwide status, the way that he's known, I think Bono is going to be my goalkeeper. I just think Club World Cup, obviously the run in the World Cup to be the first nation to get that far, I said, you know what? Hey, fair enough, man. So Bono is our goalkeeper, and El Hadari, again, that period where Egypt were dominating. The thing with Egypt as well, yeah, there weren't many like superstars. You know, again, you're gonna gas up like Abu Trika, maybe like a Mohamed Zidane was called for a while, but I feel like it was more of like a tight-knit unit that made them the kings of Africa for so long. But nevertheless, let's go to right back, because hey, Morocco, you're back again, eh? Dima Maghreb. Our starting right back is, of course, Achraf Hakimi. I just think, I mean, he's in conversations for definitely one of the best African defenders ever, like of any position, left back, centre back, right back. I think what he's doing, especially last year, he's shown guys that he's not just like a, you know, get forward and score goals merchant. The guy can be a lockdown 1v1 defender as well. And on the bench, just below Hakimi, I'm going to go with Loren. If you know about Loren, you know 2005 times. The reason why I've got him in, this brother, well, aside from obviously the Invincibles and whatnot, how can a man get cane rolls but shaved into his head? He did not have enough hair to get the cane rolls, so he drew the lines in his head like that. When guys were getting like a night tick or a little line, he was drawing cane rolls in his head. But big respect to him, to be fair. As a defender, of course, he was also very cold for both club and country. He did pick Africa. So at right back, to be fair, no changes because we've picked 2 African players, if you will. Now centre back, here's where it starts getting interesting. The first one, you can see what I'm wearing. I've got the GH type attire on, and we're going for a Ghanaian centre back, someone who ended up playing for France and won multiple trophies for club and country again. Marcel Desailly, Uncle Desailly, that's my dog as well. We're doing the together at that Best Awards a couple years ago. I mean, top defender. Obviously, again, you can understand why players pick other nations and whatnot, but he as well, he knows how Ghanaian he is. When I met him as well, he sent a message to my dad and we were talking about Ghana and whatnot. So that was very cool of him. And then his, I guess, deputy, if you will, I had a few thoughts there. I was weighing up between like a Kolo Toure maybe, since, you know, he went invincible as well. But I've gone with Vincent Kompany of Congo. I think, you know, as the captain of that City team and someone that, again, he was scoring clutch. To be honest with you, like, I don't think he's like the best defender in the universe, but I think the intangibles is what carry him a lot as well, right? Like the mentals, the leadership, all those sort of things gets him in as a deputy for the right centre back. There's players that, look, in terms of that are like up and coming and one that I could get there eventually. For example, like a William Saliba in 5-6 years probably would take the right centre back spot of Africa. But I think for now, big respect. Let's go for that for now. And at left centre back, by the way, don't worry about like left footers and right footers. I've just put 2 centre backs that are starting and then 2 that are going to be on the bench. And our first one is going to be someone that does represent his African nation. I've gone with Kalidou Koulibaly. I think this one speaks for itself. We all know about Koulibaly from his Napoli days, even at Chelsea. To be fair, like, I know guys say he was kind of meaty. I didn't really think he was that bad at Chelsea, to be honest with you. And he wasn't like Napoli levels, obviously, but I still think he done a calm job. And then obviously, you know, he went to Saudi. But even still, for Senegal, he's been delivering, bro. Even World Cup, I remember that goal against Ecuador, I believe it was. And I hear the commentator, Koulibaly! When I hear his name get shouted like that, I say, you know what, Fez, like, you gotta get in. And his deputy is someone who does not play for an African nation. Someone still currently active. And it's a nation that, I'll be honest, they needed this kind of guy because without him, they don't even qualify for any kind of tournaments. Someone from Sierra Leone. We have Antonio Rudiger. Yes, of course, he represents Germany, but you know, the roots are in Sierra Leone. I do believe he goes back there time to time and does a bit of charitable work there. So big respect to him. But I'm going to have Koulibaly ahead of him just because there's the slight tax of, you know, you did pick your African nation as well. But I think both of them, you know, I can hear both arguments for either one being higher than the other. It's not really that deep. We go to left back. Oh, do you know what I didn't even do today? Dogodon. I didn't do the... I forgot to point to the back. I forgot to say that it's time.
Tic-tac.
We're on the road to 40,000. If you support African excellence, if you support black excellence, you have to subscribe. Otherwise, you not subscribing tells me you don't respect Ghana, you don't respect Africa, and that's okay, no problem. Just know deep down that we know what you are. I'll be honest, this one I had my left back sorted, but then someone sent me a buzzer beater when I was asking guys, like, is there anyone that I've missed? I was asking in Discord, like, here's my team. What do you guys think? Is it calm? Everything seemed alright to them, except left back. Someone gave me a last minute name. So I initially, I'll tell you what I had. I had Evra as my sub fullback. Obviously from Senegal, played for France. Again, you're going to see a lot of French players here. I'm sure you know who we're referring to when we get further forward. But I had Evra there for Senegal and Cape Verde as well. And my starter was David Alaba for Nigeria. And I felt that was like a good one because he could play left back, he could play left centre back, and I can make it into a back three, and then guys can start bombing forward. But then I got sent a buzzer beater, and this is someone that I believe, I'm going to be honest, I know it's been a short time, I believe he's better than Alaba already. It's Nuno Mendes, Cape Verde. I honestly believe, maybe you can call me a maniac, like Alaba's never really been in conversations that like at some point, this guy could be the best left back like ever eventually, right? Whereas Nuno Mendes, we're watching right now, we're thinking, yo, you do this for like 4, 5, 6 years, you're gonna be in them kind of convos. People will argue it's a little bit early, but I've seen enough that like, okay, put it this way, I don't think Alaba was ever the best left back in the world. Does that make sense? He was always like really, really quality, and some could argue, is he better at left back, centre back, whatever. Nuno Mendes right now, albeit in a different time period, is far and away head and shoulders above everyone. So, and I want to give a bit of love to Cape Verde as well, but big up, you know, Cape Verde, big up Nigeria as well for David Alaba. Now is where it gets tricky, guys. Now people are going to get really upset with me, so just understand I tried my hardest to get as many players as possible. I wanted to go to like a 2-back and have like 5 midfielders because there are too many names that are not going to make it. So let's get started, and you're going to understand what the issue is. Because, in fact, shall I tell you, I'll give you my midfield 3 and then their deputies, rather than like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then you understand where I'm going with this. So actually, no, do you know what? Forget that. I'm going to give you the player, the sub, the player, the sub, the player, the sub. So, first up in my team, of Senegal, but played for France, Patrick Vieira. I think in this team, you know, I want World Cup winners. I want invincibles. I want guys that have played in England, guys that have played in Italy. They're versatile. They can play as a 6. They can play as an 8. They can be box to box. They can do whatever you want. I think Vieira's got that. And of course, we know about like the whole chart about he comes from Senegal and whatnot. So Patrick Vieira is in there. And listen to the midfielder that is his deputy, bro. It's so unfortunate. N'Golo Kante is his deputy. Again, another player who many people, if you just play FIFA, oh, he's a CDM, but we've all watched the sport. He's someone that he can cover insane ground and be the 6, but also we know him to be box to box. He's just not like your box to box that, you know, gets 10, 11 goals or dribbles past 3 or 4 players. But Kante, another, you know, excellent player, of course, from Mali. So we're getting more and more nations involved in our 11 here. So please, if your country didn't make it, Apologies, man. Apologies. Yo, big up Bruce Grobbelaar and that South Africa goalkeeper. You might get a little shout as well, but it's a tough team to get into, as you can see by the fact that Kante's on the bench. Now, when I've said Kante on the bench, you're thinking, hold on a minute. If Kante's on the bench, what kind of players do you have also in midfield? Well, let me tell you who's playing next to Patrick Vieira. It's an Ivorian. His name is Yaya Toure. An AFCON winner, a Premier League legend for Manchester City, a Barcelona Champions League winner as well, might I add, playing at centre-back even. Partners Vieira. Can you guys imagine that midfield, bro? Bro, the ball carrying, the winning the ball, scoring goals like that. He's rarely scoring goals like that. That midfield is nasty. And that's just the two already. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to have like a pure six. I'm just going to have midfielders. And Toure's deputy, Paul Labil Pogba. Paul Labil Pogba of Guinea is going to be his sub. So we've got Pogba and Kante as the backups. And if you know how France are moving, you know that Pogba, Kante, they are more than capable of just slotting in and getting the job done. Because, I mean, these men, they won the World Cup together. So that's what... Guys, Michael Essien doesn't make the team. He doesn't even get on the bench. How nuts is this midfield that I can't even invite Michael Essien to be any... Like, I can't, bro. I really want to. I'd love to play like a diamond midfield and then have 4 men, but then I'm still missing a spot somewhere. So Michael Essien, my most sincere apologies as a Ghana man, but I have to try and keep it, you know, as unbiased and fair as possible. I just think Pogba and Kante together, that's like the perfect backup for having machines like Yaya and Patrick Vieira. So next up, we go into our 10 position. I think this one is pretty easy. However, there are lots and lots and lots of honorable mentions, right? Let's get it out of the way. Zinedine Zidane of Algeria is starting in the 10 for us. But now you start thinking about who else could have played. JJ Okocha could have been there. Nigeria's finest. So good they named him twice. You know, Bolton legend. Obviously, he had it spells at PSG as well. He's been to Turkey. He's been all over the gaff. And he's loved by not even just the teams he played for, but even like rival teams or players or neutrals, whatever. Everyone loves JJ Okocha. But he couldn't get in. Someone that I personally love, that this is just a personal bias, and I'm not saying he should be in, Kevin Prince Boateng. That guy, I'm telling you, I used to get the Mohican like him in secondary school. I was rocking that for way too long, like 3 years, something like that. Too long. I used to buy every Ghana shirt, Kevin Prince on the back. That's when I was telling you guys yesterday about I don't get names on shirts. Back in the, as a kid, when I was like, it's like what, 2010, so like I said, 15 years ago, I was getting Kevin Prince on every shirt, bro. That was my idol. But the player that I have gone with is a Ghanaian. His name is Abedi Pele. From when your name is Pele, yeah, you know what I mean? It speaks for itself. It really speaks for itself. But obviously, even then, the gap between him and the likes of Zinedine Zidane is so astronomical that we're talking about someone that is definitely top 10 players, you know, in football history. Can you imagine Zidane with Yaya and Vieira behind him? That midfield, all the best, bro. You're not going to get the ball off them. You're not going to outstrength them. You're not going to like, nothing, bro. It's finished. And then we get on to our front three. This one, well, you'll see what happens now, because what I want from my front three, again, I want either, if you're coming from elsewhere, bring me World Cup winners, or bring me players that have done it at the highest level, in the biggest games, in the biggest moments. You've delivered the trophies. You've got maybe like a Ballon d'Or to go with it perhaps as well. So we start at right wing. Please welcome Kylian Mbappe. Yes, we are going back to our roots with the Africans. So Mbappe, you are going back to your roots playing right wing. If you know about the Monaco times when he started, when he was killing Mbappe Lotin, and he was a right winger, because guys, the front three, there's too many there, bro. So I have to put Mbappe on the right wing. Obviously, those of us who are well aware, you will know what kind of players that we're talking about here. Mbappe of Cameroon, of course, in case you were unaware what country he could have represented. And again, look, I'm not mad that he went to France. There was a whole story about like his dad, and then, you know, going to the Cameroon FA, but the way they were treating, it is a big issue that in African football, the FAs are so incompetent or corrupt or whatever that many of these superstars, we're never going to get to see them play for the national team, because why would you want to? Bro, I just saw last year, was it the Nigerian national team? They getting held hostage in the airport, bro. What kind of FA is this? And it's not their fault, to be fair to them. It's not anything to do with them. You blame all the others, or you blame the countries that they're playing against, but it's just, when you look at international football, you factor these things in. Me personally, I told you, man, from early, if I had the choice, if I was good enough, I'd pick Ghana all day long. But obviously, I don't have the choice, so my opinion is meaningless. But with that being said, like I said, World Cup winner, to deputize from him, I want someone to show him the ropes of what it means to be an AFCON champion. Riyad Mahrez, multiple-time Premier League winner, and spearheaded Algeria to the 2019 AFCON. Many other countries, many other nations, they complain about their players. Oh, the team is too bad. Like, how can we win things? Mahrez was doing the nastiest curry job for that country at times. And that's not to say that every player was bad. Algeria have had some good plays in the last 5-6 years, but even just thinking back, I remember we talk about even like different tournaments and the same, bro, the free kick against Nigeria, last minute, game on the line, and you just whip that. I'm sorry, man. Riyad Mahrez, if you're giving me an AFCON, welcome to the team. I want AFCON winners to show the foreigners, if you will, what it's like to be a winner. And so for that reason, we go to the left wing. We do have 2 African players here. So we're going to end on striker, but we do have 2 African players. On the bench, Sadio Mane of Senegal, another one who, when the lights shine brightest, Sadio Mane arrives and delivers for his country time and time and time again. There is no complaint about who does he have playing with him, who's up front next to him, who is in the front three with him. We don't hear any of that. Sadio Mane goes to Africa and he delivers the same performances that he was delivering so fantastically for Liverpool in those years. And then obviously, you know, he went to Bayern and then he went to Saudi and whatnot. But in general, Sadio Mane on the bench because, of course, starting on the left wing, if we go back to, like, you know, the back-to-back treble kind of years where you could play left wing striker, is Samuel Eto'o. I mean, this guy, AFCON is there, Olympics is there, wearing a vest to go to matches. Bro, how can you go to a football match like this? How can you go to professional football matches and you're wearing vests like that? Sorry, the audacity alone of that is fair enough. And I believe Samuel Eto'o is the best African player of all time in terms of players that represented African nations, to clarify. And so therefore, he must be my left winger. He has to be in the team. Again, I'd have loved to have gone like just 3 strikers or 2 strikers and a 10, but it didn't work. However, up front, I mean, where do we even begin? There are so many names that I could have gone with here. But I think to complete the round of diversity, if you will, we're traveling to East Africa. We're going to Mozambique. And we're kidnapping Eusebio like when he got kidnapped in 1961 between the Benfica and the Lisbon beef. For those of us who remember, they kidnapped him, they sent him to the Algarve and said, yo, we want you to sign for us, but we don't want Sporting finding out, we don't want Porto finding out, so you're going to stay here, wait a year, and then we can register you and you can play. Eusebio is going to be our striker. I mean, do I need to explain why Eusebio is the guy? We know Portugal now because of Ronaldo, and he's kind of elevated them again. But many olders, if you will, like maybe like above 30, above 40, you ask them who's the Portuguese GOAT, it's Eusebio or Ronaldo for them, bro. Like, Portugal were nothing. Eusebio arrived, they start, you know, making progress. 1966, right? You could argue that they were very unfortunate not to even win the entire World Cup. Now, you could talk about like the beef between, did England move the ground on purpose? If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. Obviously, that crazy game against North Korea where he just, bro, they were losing by how many? 3 goals? He put the team on his back. Goal upon goal upon goal upon goal. So, Eusebio, of course, of Portugal, but we're going to have him in here for Mozambique. And his backup. I was spoiled for choices, but I have gone with another Ballon d'Or winner in my team. Someone who's now the president of his nation. George Weah of Liberia. I think, again, this one speaks for itself. This guy was balling out for Milan. This guy was balling out. The thing with Liberia, again, they were never going to win anything because whilst we speak about like other countries where the teams are a bit weaker and is it their fault? I can't even name you other Liberians. That's how low ranked the country was. It wasn't like a Senegal, Egypt, or Ghana or something where like you are known as like the king. To me, I don't know if you guys agree. If I have to pick like 5 countries that are like, let's say, the kings of Africa for football, we have Egypt, Ghana, Nigeria. It's those 3, and then you're looking at maybe like Ivory Coast, and then it's like a Senegal or Algeria. Maybe I'm missing one. So Cameroon. Cameroon is going to be the 5th one. So Liberia had absolutely no business being anywhere, but they've produced someone like George Weah, again another upstanding citizen. So I'm glad to have him there. Other names, of course, the likes of Didier Drogba. The guy stopped an entire war, so big respect to him. Unlucky that as soon as he retired, Ivory Coast finally won the AFCON, and it's not really his fault, but it's just unfortunate. Obviously, then you got guys like Asamoah Gyan and whatnot who put up crazy numbers in World Cups upon World Cups upon World Cups. There's so many, bro. Even Benzema, we could have had Benzema in this, another Ballon d'Or winner, another Algeria rep. But again, I wanted to try and get as many African nations in there as possible. So that is our final team, I suppose. Let me know what you think of it. Comment any players that you think should have made it or that were really close to making it for you personally. I'm sure there's going to be many arguments about players that should have made it, and again, I can't name every player in the universe, so apologies, but nonetheless, again, have a fantastic week. Let me know if you think, would you pick African teams or would you pick your European teams? I understand the logic. I get why people would pick it. I just don't agree with people picking the European nation and then they wait till they're like 28 years old and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, do you know what, yeah, I want to go and play for Congo, yeah, I want to go and play for Nigeria. Don't use us as second options, bro. Either you want to play or you don't want to play, and you can go yard. But anyway, enough yapping. Have a great week. In a bit. Bosh.